Today's learning target is I can compare and order fractions, decimals, and percents. Today you're going to be asked to compare fractions or other numbers and make them true using the less than, greater than, or equal to sign. Now we've learned things throughout this unit that can help us solve problems like these. Okay, so here I'm asked to compare 3/8 and 6/15. Okay, now when I look at this, I notice that I can't find a real easy way to find a common denominator, because before I can compare them, I want to look to see, is there a common denominator? So I could try to find a common denominator for each of these, but for me, I'm looking at this thinking, hey, what if I turn this into a decimal by dividing? And I did the same thing with this. Then I could compare the numbers. So on my calculator, I did 3 divided by 8, and I got 0.375, so 375 thousandths. And then I did the same thing for 6 divided by 15, and that equaled 0.4, so 4/10. Now to compare them, I'm just going to line up the decimals, okay? And now, some people, when they're comparing decimals, like to fill in zeros for the open spots here, and that doesn't change the value, so we can do that if that makes it easier to see which is larger. Okay, and now I'm ready to compare. So I look at the ones place, okay, I can't tell which is bigger. Now I look at the tenths place, and I see the 4 is larger than the 3, so this number right here is larger. So I put my less than sign, because that means 3/8 is less than 6/15. Now sometimes you'll be asked to compare a fraction like this, where you can use your math knowledge to help you. So when I look at this, I see it's 2 wholes and 1/4. Okay, and this side I have 2 wholes and 5/6. Now I know that 5/6 is almost 1 whole right here, and I know that 1/4, that's less than a half, so that is a smaller fraction than 5/6. So just by using my math knowledge, I can say I know that 2 and 5/6 is greater than 2 and 1/4. Now, on problems like these two here, if I were to look at these, if I saw this problem right down here, I would probably divide this out like I just showed you how to do, to figure out the decimal for this number and this number, and then compare them and figure out from there which of these is larger. But when I look at a problem like this, I look and right away I see I could change this 1/3 to a fraction that's in twelfths very easily just by timesing it by 4. And remember, if I do that to the denominator, I have to do it to the numerator so that my fraction is an equivalent fraction, or equal. It equals the same amount. So if I did that, here I would get 4/12. Here I get 3/12. And now it's easy to compare. I know that 4/12 is greater than 3/12. So depending on the type of problem you have, you might use a different type of way to solve it. So there's a number of different ways that I could solve this problem here. 80% and 805 thousandths, and I want to find out which is larger. Okay, so one way that I could do that is I could change this decimal to a percent. That'd be one way to solve it. I could change this percent to a decimal. That would be another way. Okay, I might do a two-step approach. I might say, okay, 80%. I remember that percent means per 100. So I know that looks like this, 80 per 100, or 80 out of 100, 80 100ths. Okay, now I could divide that out. I could do 80 divided by 100. And I could say, okay, I know that, or if I did it on a calculator, would give me 8/10, just like that. And now I'm ready to compare. I can write the other fraction right underneath it. So 0.805. Okay, and if you want, you can fill in zeros on those open spaces here to compare. I know that right here, those are the same value, so I go to the next place value. Those are the same, those are the same, and oh, here we go. This 5 is greater than this 0, so this 805 thousandths is larger, so I'm going to put the correct sign in there. So you can see in today's assignment that there's a lot of different ways that you can solve them, okay? But if you know the relationship between how to turn percents to fractions, or fractions to decimals, or decimals to percents, right? Or decimals to fractions. There's a lot of different ways that we can go about solving these. The key is to remember that you want to have the same type of number, so whether they're both decimals, or get them both to be fractions, or both to be percents. Once you do that, it's going to be much easier to compare them.